So there's a very interesting story that's brewing right now online, and it's one that I think that everyone should keep an eye on and get fixated with. I actually followed that story some few days back. I didn't know it's going to come up to the head. With the way and manner netizens have shredded that story, and it has actually elicited some reactions from the federal government. I'll tell you what the federal government reaction is, but then let's tell you what the story is. The recent decision, apparently, to concession the Akanu Ibiam International Airport Enugu for a staggering 80-year term has ignited heated conversations across social media platforms, particularly on X, formerly known as Twitter. What's raising eyebrows isn't just an unusually lengthy concession period, it's the sharp contrast when compared to other major airports across Nigeria. For context, Lagos, Abuja, and Kano airports were concessioned for relatively shorter durations ranging from 20 to 30 years. So why does Enugu, a smaller airport in terms of volume and infrastructure, get locked into an 80-year deal? One particularly vocal public commentator, Kalu Aja, has taken it upon himself to raise critical questions on the matter. Kalu went further than most netizens by conducting a quick background check on Aero Alliance, the company reportedly awarded the concession. According to his finding via the Corporate Affairs Commission, CAC, the company does not appear to be registered in Nigeria. That discovery alone has sparked serious concerns about the transparency and due diligence behind this deal. Yes, it has. Kalu is now calling on the Minister of Aviation to urgently address the following key questions. There are key in the sense that he sat down and carved out these questions, and most people have said they're quite germane questions. Number one, the concessionaire is the who. Who are they? Are they registered in Nigeria? Who are the promoters? Number two, how was the Aero Alliance Consortium chosen? The Infrastructure Concession Regulatory Commission, ICRC, in Nigeria, under the Infrastructure Concession Regulatory Commission Establishment Act 2005, outlines specific requirements for airports projects to be concessioned through public-private partnerships, which include competitive bidding process. All concessions or PPP contracts must undergo a competitive bidding process to ensure fairness and transparency. The bidder with the most technically and economically sound submission is chosen. Did this happen? The other question, technical expertise. Private sector expertise bidding for airport concessions must demonstrate requisite technical expertise and experience in developing, operating, and managing airport infrastructure, including international airports and cargo terminals. Again, who is the Aero Alliance Consortium? Number three, financial capacity. Bidders must provide evidence of financial capacity to undertake the concession. And of course, a minimum of worth 30 billion naira, or approximately $72 million, depending on exchange rate, should be provided. And a bank should also guarantee them in case of any defaulting. So the question goes, why 80 years tenor? Other airports in Nigeria have 20 to 30 years tenors. Is the free trade zone, the next question, at the Akanu Ibiam International Airport covered under this concession? And why is the Nigerian government responsible for projected revenues if the project fails? Projected revenues for 80 years? Versus Kayamo, he added, ICRCNG, we would require or appreciate answers to these questions, he writes. So this has elicited a lot of reaction. I'm not going to go into that reaction though, but I would first want to basically read the response by the Ministry of Aviation regarding this development. The Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, has described reports in some sections of the media about concessioning of Enugu Airport as unfounded and untrue. The minister, in a statement issued Monday by his special advisor on media and communications, Tunde Moshood, said it is true that the federal government was considering proposals for the concession of 5 major airports to ensure the facilities meet and maintain international standards, given the increasing financial demands of their operations. He added that many of the country's airports are presently running at a loss, so they have to be subsidized each month by the federal government. Keyamo said it was noteworthy that the initiative to concession started from previous administrations. The statement said, quote, "Our attention has been drawn to certain online report stories suggesting that a certain lengthy period of concession has been agreed upon regarding the Enugu International Airport. These reports are utterly baseless and untrue. At this stage, prospective concessionaires have indeed submitted various proposals, including different durations for the concession. It is important to emphasize that the Ministry of Aviation and Aerospace Development has not established any fixed duration. All submitted proposals are currently undergoing thorough investigation or evaluation that will eventually be reviewed by the ICRC before it is presented to the Minister for Conveyance to Federal Executive Council for approval. We can confirm that this review process has not been concluded." That's what the statement reads in part. But again, let me also bring to you the report that Daily Sun also did. It did it actually before this particular statement came out. It's crazy because this thing is coming to a head. It's actually quite confusing when things like that pop up everywhere. They do. So the headline, as obtained by Daily Sun, says the federal government is currently finalizing negotiations with Aero Alliance Consortium to concession the Akanu Ibiam International Airport (AIIA) in Enugu for an 80-year period. A draft contract obtained by Daily Sun. A draft contract obtained by Daily Sun reveals the details of the public-private partnership agreement, which makes provisions for airport upgrades, the handling of existing Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria (FAA) and staff revenue sharing, among others. Clause 5.1 of the 64-page document, which was analyzed by Daily Sun, addresses the very crucial issue of the current FAA and employees at the airport. According to the agreement, all existing airport staff will be transferred to Aero Alliance with their full benefits for an initial period of 24 months. There would be no forced redundancies, and afterwards, any member of staff deemed redundant after any restructuring will be reabsorbed by the federal government, which will retain responsibility for their pension and gratuity payments. The concession duration is an initial 80-year term, which will commence upon effective date, and an option of 20 years extension based on performance. There are also early determinations clauses for non-compliance. So for you to have a draft contract, I mean, you must have gone through all the papers, you must have spoken about it. So drafting of the contract would also be okay. It's time to sign, and then we sign and go. So this is what Daily Sun is reporting as it regards these developments. Now, things are out of the cards, because again, we have seen how people who bid for processes go out of their way in sponsoring stories on newspapers. It is not far from the fact that it's possible that the Aero Alliance guys may have sponsored this story to play on, and so that to mount pressure on those who are also on it to hands off, or to mount pressure on the ministry to give it to them. It's a possibility. It's also possible that the ministry have seen the backlash. They have accepted everything, it's just to sign, but they've seen the backlash, and then they are trying to retrace their step by saying that the discussions are still on. It is also possible that, they are going to say this in order to reduce the tension that this has generated. So because they know that Nigerians have short memory, once something big comes out, once another story pops up, they tend to forget, and then they quickly sign and get off it. Because again, how many things has the government signed that, had us approve? When they signed off on the vehicles that was to be bought for the State House of Assembly members, the Federal House of Assembly members, the Senate and the House of Rep members, were you consulted? Even when your constituents say no, would they have said no? Would they have stopped buying it? When the government wanted to buy a yacht, and we're back and forth about it, didn't they say they had already bought it? It's just that it's the money that was supposed to have paid. That's what the people were asking for. I mean, borrowing, self, even borrowing. We've seen places and periods where government would borrow money even without the Senate approval. They just go borrowing money without Senate approval. They just go buying things without Senate approval. The Senate just, plays catch up, so to speak. That's what happens. So when you see these kinds of when you see these kinds of debunking coming up, you know, people become circumspect. Like, okay, this one that just accepted that is they are still talking about it, so they will go back and reduce it. It's possible that after maybe a few months, they see that Nigerians are no longer talking about it. They just quietly sign it, and they will probably not even speak about it again. The next time you are going to be seeing things is probably when you land in Akanu Ibiam International Airport in Enugu and you see totally different people managing it, different faces. And maybe the ambience would have been different because as a private firm, you would want to make the airport a little bit attractive and much more genuinely fantastic than, what is obtainable. So before you ask one or two questions, the thing has already gone and you probably not have anything to do. So it's neither here nor there. I mean, the government of the day have to do something a lot more to prove that this thing is false. That's what I'm trying to say. And for the record, let me just put out some comments that I actually obtained from this particular story. It's just an interesting story, really. Let's see if you can. You could also have your say on the platform. Send me your comments on YouTube. I would love to read up on them and also probably have a few discussions regarding this. I mean, I have aviation friends. I'm going to be speaking to them about this development. I'm sure they would love to see to speak on these particular issues to be able to give you some perspective as relates to the purchase, or if you like, the concession for the airport. This one is for Mainland Estate. Says those behind the company that wants to buy the Enugu airport is Governor Peter Mba and Arthur Eze. Real ESO says, who are they, the board members of this Aero Alliance Consortium? I can't find them after search. By the way, like I said, all these thoughts online are unfounded. Mostly they are not born out of any research. People can put up comments based on their emotions, based on their thought process, which may not be in any way founded. But I mean, if you've got any proof about the owners, let us know. I mean, we are in the world of digital space. People are now believing people online more than the traditional media. And by the way, the traditional media was not even the platform that put out this content. Traditional media did not tell the story. No radio, no TV told the story. I'm sure how they are going to be telling the story now is they are playing catch up. They're going to be telling the story based on the debunking of the story by the Ministry of Aviation. They're not going to be telling it from the premise of the discovery of the fact that a concession by Enugu, by the ministry for the Enugu airport to a private firm was 80 years, because that story did not emanate from mainstream media. It actually emanated from social media. It's crazy, really. So Pascal Uchenna says this issue should be the biggest trending news in all southeastern states. Radio OAPs should use the discussion after newspaper reviews. We must reject the deliberate acts to kill Akanu Ibiam International Airport. So let's take maybe one or two more, then I'll leave you to read up on every other that I've come across. You can also drop your thoughts. I also love to hear from you as always. Chubike says, this is a genuine question to ask. Globally, concessions are within 10 to 50 years. 80 years is worrisome and needs public scrutiny on model of PDP or PPP and that were used, whether it was a build, manage, purchase model. And the other one, these people see better. Well, this is not within our jurisdiction. See what greed can cause. Even if the owners are 30 years average, where will they be to continue chopping the money? Typical black man's mentality. TJ says the senators from the Southeast are more concerned about the frivolous topics such as immortalizing the late former INEC chairman, Humphrey Nwosu. So those are the comments that I was able to grab Let's see, Oliver the Great. They want to kill the Igbo land from a developing. Simon Bakwe International Airport has never experienced any international flights since its existence and operations. Why those leaders who doesn't want East strive are against those development in the East. Past and present governance from the Eastern region has failed that region. Ndibo, wake up. Let's see, this one says White Eagle. Because they have likely projected that the Southeast will eventually break away at some point, and Enugu is most likely going to be the headquarters, and they still want their hands in the pot of soup for the generations unborn. Let's see, Nigerians and propaganda. No credible source posted this either. Has the federal government made any official announcement on this? Someone just want to gaslight Igbos into this. So that's the much I can take. I hope that this meets you well. But again, I would love you to react to this story and let's see where it takes us to. I'm Charles. Thank you so much for being part of this broadcast. I'll see you on the next one.